There are pilots we remember as legends, but they didn't start out that way. They started out like us. This is our time to make a difference. Do you understand? Jaeger pilots, do you understand?
One way to find out.
Well, hello everyone.
Hi.
We're back again. Grandma's back again. I'm back again.
Yes.
And we've gone to the movies again. We hope you have gone out to the movies. Movies are fun.
Yes, they are.
They've got stories to tell. This week, Grandma has gone to Pacific Rim Uprising, which is the sequel to the original Pacific Rim, which of a few years ago, which doesn't have a terribly complicated story. It's basically a bunch of giant robots battling a bunch of giant alien monsters. And this one is pretty much similar story. It picks up the story, you know, after they've defeated the monsters in the first movie. The monsters come back in this movie, and they have to find pilots to pilot the giant robots to battle them.
Yes.
And again, as we found out in the first movie, it takes two people to pilot these, and they have to have sort of a mental connection, and so they have to find the right people to pilot it. And it stars John Boyega, who we last saw in Star Wars: The Last Jedi, as the son of sort of the hero of the first movie, and he's not really wanting to be a pilot, but is sort of forced back into it and gets into it eventually. And then again, they have to battle the giant monsters. So what do you think, Grandma?
Well, it was an interesting story. Not a complicated plot.
No.
But it gave the movie makers the opportunity to use their CGI expertise on almost constant battles. There was much destruction of buildings and all kinds of mayhem created by the fights between the bad guys' robots and the good guys' robots.
Well, again, when they were mainly in Tokyo, and again we were. The whole destruction was given a good sort of excuse for the destruction in that they said, well, everybody is in underground shelters, so they can basically destroy as much of the city as they want to, and we don't have to worry about them hurting anybody. So they destroyed a lot of it.
I can remember in the first movie there were cars on the street and people running and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was disturbing, so I'm glad that they told us that all the people, the humans, were safe.
The explanation went by really quickly, but
no,
again, that was the explanation.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, so what did you think of the movie?
I didn't really like it much.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I can't say that I did. It seemed to me like a waste of lots of talent. The actors did fine. You know, I have nothing to complain about with the human actors. But the storyline was kind of hackneyed, and the constant battle, I got tired of that. I got tired of the constant battling and destruction. I needed more human interaction. You know, of course, the bottom line is teamwork and, you know, the family of humans, the family feel there, you know, helping each other. That was what, once again, saved the world.
But you thought that was missing?
No, that was good. The good part. That was there in the film. You know that.
Okay, so then what was missing?
I'm not sure why I didn't care for it. Maybe it was just because there was too much battling destruction and not enough human interaction, you know. I don't know. What did you think?
Well, I was surprised at how much I liked it, actually.
Here we go.
I kept trying to find things wrong with it, and I didn't find much wrong with it. I thought the first half of the film actually didn't have very much action in it. They only had a couple of sort of little action pieces. Most of it was, I think, setting up the characters and getting their relationships lined up, and having you get a rooting interest for these people. I thought John Boyega was particularly good. I mean, in the Star Wars films, they have so many people in the Star Wars films that he's not particularly the star. In this one, he's really the central character.
He is.
And if he goes on to become a star, I think people may point back at this movie as, again, the starting point for that, for him being sort of a leading man, because I thought he did a really good job of this. Again, evolving from the sort of not so serious person at the beginning of the film to much more of a leader at the end of the film. So again, I thought that actually worked well, and they again were able to again really build up an interest in the characters. Now, then, when it gets to all the robots versus the monsters, I mean, you know, if you don't like robots versus monsters, you're not going to like the last half of the film. I like robots versus monsters. They're pretty, you know, if it's done well. And
it was done well.
I thought that you know, that's pretty good.
The actress that played the young girl.
She's new to me. She's new to me.
The cadet. She did a good job.
I think she's
with her part too.
She's fairly new, I think.
She was the cadet that.
But again, it's like a lot of these sort of science fiction films or special effects films, superhero sort of films. If you don't like that sort of thing, you're not going to like this movie. I mean, no matter how much they may invest in terms of building up the characters and things like that, if there's all of this special effects and monsters and giant robots and stuff, this movie is not for you. You're not going to like this movie.
Well, in my part, that was the big problem. I think you put your finger on it, because I got tired of that.
Okay.
I got tired of the fighting and the constant, rolling around. So you put your finger on my main concern about this particular film.
Well, I had sort of wondered as the film was developing, whether they were going to really be able to make some good monster versus giant robot battles, and I think they did a pretty good job of that. And it kept my interest. And again, I thought that the part that I thought they were going to not do well was the whole character development and all of that stuff, and I thought they did a good job with that too. So again, I had a hard time finding too much wrong with it. I would recommend it. Grandma, what about you?
Well, I would not. As I've already expressed, I did not enjoy the film.
Does it get any thumbs from you?
Enough, no thumbs. No.
Any sideways thumb? You?
Well, yeah. The actors were good, and the how should I refer to the artists who do the creation of all of the monsters and stuff?
Special effects people.
The special effects people did a superb job.
Okay.
With all of those.
So it does get a sideways thumb.
Definitely two sideways.
Oh, well, maybe that's like equals one thumb up. Maybe.
That might be, because the talent displayed was very, very good, very good, very high.
Yes.
But maybe it's just not my type of movie. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we've seen plenty of science fiction movies, so we can't say that science fiction is not your thing.
I like science fiction. Normally, I have.
But maybe it's just giant robots jumping around it. You don't care for those.
Maybe that's it, because I have a good imagination, and I do enjoy science fiction films. So this one just didn't appeal to me. very much.
Well, better luck next
Sorry,
week.
guys.